About 2 weeks ago, Marvel revealed their plans for a lot of future movies and TV shows, and I probably would have done a video about that then, but I was away and couldn't do that. But I'm gonna do that video now. So right now, I'm gonna be ranking all 6 movies with confirmed titles that Marvel revealed. At that convention. Not gonna be talking about any movies that they're coming, but they don't have confirmed titles, like the Fantastic Four reboot and then Black Panther and Captain Marvel sequels. Nothing where you don't have an official title or anything like that. They're just kind of out there. And then the TV shows, I'm not going to do a ranking for those. If someone asks for those, I might do it. But until then, I'm just going to be talking about these 6 movies. So, let's get right into the ranking. At last place is The Eternals. Now, this definitely sounds interesting. It's a Marvel movie, so I'll definitely be there opening night to see it. But the thing is, I'm not that excited because I don't know anything about the source material. And just reading the description, it looked like it's going to be so disconnected from the current era of the MCU. Sure, it's going to have some elements like the Celestials that have been introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy films, but it just seems so disconnected with characters that I don't know about. And now it has a great set of actors and people working on it, but I'm just so unfamiliar with everything behind it that I can't get myself too excited than everything else on this list. Definitely excited for it, just not insanely, because I still don't know that much about it. Once I see a trailer, I think I'll set my mind on whether or not I'm super excited. Anyway, next up at number 5 is Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, I am honestly quite surprised that this is this low on the list. Before the panel, this was my number 1 most anticipated. I'm so surprised that it dropped down to number 5. Maybe because I like the title, I like the logo. I'm excited to see Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi and Tessa Thompson return. It's all going to be fun. But my problem is the return of Natalie Portman as Jane Foster. Because already she wasn't that great in the first 2 Thor films. She's a great actor, but wasn't great in the first 2 Thor films. And apparently she may be wielding Mjolnir, which already is weird enough considering you take this character and then you just give her Mjolnir with no... She doesn't feel worthy. It just feels weird that they're taking this kind of unlikable character and then trying to make her a main hero for this big Thor franchise movie. Seems kind of weird to me, and I'm sure she's fine in the comics. I haven't read any comics with Mighty Thor or Lady Thor. And then the other problem is, I'm not sure this is true or not, but I think I read that they're making her the main character of the movie, not Chris Hemsworth's Thor. He's kind of going to take the back seat to Natalie Portman's Thor. I really hope that doesn't happen. I'm completely fine if it's just the both of those two as Thor together, kind of a buddy cop space movie between the two of them, a little bit of romance. If they were equals, I would love that. But them putting Lady Thor, them taking this character who's so far been unliked in most of the previous movies, and giving her her own movie and making the most likable character of those previous movies, taking a back seat to her, just doesn't excite me that much. Now, there are definitely some plot there that would be cool, like Thor kind of finding his place. They said something about Valkyrie finding her queen, which sounds interesting. So, and I have faith that Taika Waititi will do good on this. I'm nervous about the Mighty Thor kind of aspect on it. At number 4 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, this is one of the signs that the titles are getting really long, more comic book-like. But, anyway, this kind of thing same thing with the Eternals. I'm not that familiar with the background of it, but the one thing that kind of sets everything up for me is that this doesn't really have any cons. I'm not that familiar, but it sounds like it's gonna be a fun kung fu action movie. Got a great group of people behind it, and then the real kind of hook for me is that they're bringing in the actual Mandarin. So they're bringing in plots from the Iron Man movies to kind of set this up, which really excites me. You got the real Mandarin, you got the 10 Rings, and it just sounds like it's going to be a fun movie that kind of builds off the MCU before it, and I don't really have any problems with it. I'm really excited. Anyway, next up at number 3 is Black Widow. Quite excited for this. I was actually decently surprised when they said it was taking place between Civil War and Infinity War. I thought it would be a prequel of where she learns to be a spy, maybe her and Hawkeye in Budapest. But no, it's going to take place between Civil War and Infinity War, which it's a good time place for Black Widow. We know she was traveling with Captain Falcon at the time, but she could have definitely been doing stuff on her own. It's always possible we could get an Anthony Mackie cameo in there, some references to Cap and the greater MCU. It's going to be good having Natasha Romanoff, who's a pretty good character in my opinion, finally get her own solo film. I like how they're kind of bringing in the Russian aspect for everything with some other villains. And then David Harbour, I'm excited to see him as Red Guardian. I think he would make a great Thing. I'd rather see him as Thing than Red Guardian. But, he's a great actor. I think he would do good in this. But the one thing that really hooks me on this film is Taskmaster. I love him in TV shows and video games. And I'm so excited to see him adapted to the big screen. It's just going to be a great thing. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the first trailer, and that's that. Anyway, number 2 and 1 are kind of tied for me. I'm really excited for both of them. But number 2 is going to be, number 2, I'm just going to kind of count them as a tie. I'm just going to read them in a weird order. But anyway, number 2 is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This was my 1, as I said, 1 and 2, keep flipping. But yeah, Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. I never thought Doctor Strange 2 would hit super high on my list. I honestly wasn't that excited for it, because I don't love the original Doctor Strange. I like it, but I don't love it. And the thing is that it's enjoyable, of course, but I wasn't really anticipating a sequel. I'm really say it's kind of being like a horror movie in the multiverse, and then Scarlet Witch is going to be there, kind of carry on a plot line from her WandaVision TV show. It just seems extremely interesting. Like, this is something I'd be excited to see. Like, kind of taking a new direction. Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange have not officially really met yet, so it would be cool to kind of see them interacting of these two, like, kind of magic users. And, yeah, it just sounds exciting and interesting. They brought back Scott Derrickson, and I think it's going to be fun. But at number 1 is Blade. I have not seen the original Blade trilogy at all. But what I do know is it's basically a vampire hunter movie. And then they're taking Mahershala Ali to play that vampire hunter. They're putting him in the MCU with all, these great characters and references and jokes. And this may be at top just because it's the surprise of it coming, but I am amazingly excited. Mahershala Ali, I've seen him in a few stuff. I love some of his work. And him as a vampire hunter in the MCU just sounds so amazingly awesome to me. No release date, probably won't be coming for a long time, but I am just so excited for this movie. Puts it at number 1. I don't really have more to say on that. My only cons would be, like, it seems a big stretch to, like, you've had all this stuff in the MCU and suddenly you're going to tell me that vampires were here the whole time. But, Marvel will probably find someone to work it out. They did it with Wizards, they did it with Asgardians, and I'm absolutely sure they can do it with vampires. Anyway, that was my ranking. I hope you guys liked the video. My next review video will probably be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood this Friday or Saturday. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you guys liked the video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.